Understanding the 4% rule is essential for retirees. The 4% rule is a guideline that helps plan retirement spending. You withdraw 4% of your assets in the first year. Then, you adjust this amount for inflation annually. The idea seems simple to grasp and offers a starting point for many people. It can give a sense of security, aiming for your savings to last 30 years. The rule was based on past data, focusing on United States markets. Historical returns were studied closely, forming its foundation. The initial appeal is clear due to its simplicity and straightforward calculations. The rule is widely discussed and serves as a common benchmark, often being a first step for many planners. However, its ease can be deceptive, as underlying assumptions are critical. The rule assumes continued market growth similar to past U.S. performance. A specific asset allocation is often implied, usually 50 to 75% in stocks, with the rest typically in bonds. It also assumes moderate inflation, but these conditions may not always hold. William Bengen was a financial planner who sought answers for his clients. He wanted to find safe withdrawal rates and determine how much one could spend reliably. This was his primary research question, aiming for practical solutions that changed retirement planning. Bengen published his study in 1994 in the Journal of Financial Planning, titled Determining Withdrawal Rates Using Historical Data. His focus was on capital preservation, ensuring funds would last for a typical retirement. He analyzed historical worst-case scenarios with specific initial parameters, assuming a 30-year retirement period. Using U.S. stock and bond data spanning many decades, he considered tax-advantaged accounts with no ongoing taxes on growth. He looked for the highest sustainable rate, which he called SafeMax. For a 50-50 stock-bond portfolio, he found this rate to be 4.15%, often rounded to 4%. Hence, the 4% rule was born. Later, Bengen updated his research to include more asset classes like small-cap stocks for diversification. The 4% rule has U.S.-centric origins, relying heavily on strong U.S. markets. U.S. stocks performed exceptionally well for much of the 20th century, but this history is a key limitation. Other countries had different experiences, raising the question, can the rule apply universally? This question needs careful examination. My own research explored this issue, published as An International Perspective on Safe Withdrawal Rates. This study looked beyond U.S. borders, analyzing data from 17 developed countries over an extensive time period. We wanted to see if 4% held up, and the results were quite revealing. They showed significant international differences, with the success rate of 4% being much lower in many nations. Several countries showed 2 to 3% as safer, with higher historical success. The U.S. market was an outlier, with its strong performance not being typical. Relying on U.S. data alone is risky, with clear global implications. Retirees worldwide must be cautious and cannot blindly apply the 4% rule. Local market context is crucial, as expected returns differ by country. Inflation histories vary widely, and currency risk is another factor, especially if assets and spending are in different currencies. Section 4. The Longevity Challenge. Early Retirement and Portfolio Sustainability. The FIRE movement means financial independence, retire early. Early retirement means longer time horizons. Traditional rules may not apply. Portfolio sustainability is paramount. A longer retirement strains the 30-year rule. The 4% rule was not designed for this. Sequence of returns risk is magnified. Flexibility in spending becomes essential. Early retirees face unique pressures. Section 5. Peering into the future, Monte Carlo. Simulations and investment realities. Historical data has its limitations. Past performance is not a future guarantee. This is a standard financial disclaimer. Yet, the 4% rule relies on it. Current financial conditions are different from much of the 20th century. We must consider today's realities. This is where forecasting tools help. Monte Carlo simulations are one such tool. They offer probabilistic modeling. Instead of one historical path, they generate thousands of potential scenarios. These scenarios use assumptions about future returns, volatility, and correlations. This gives a range of outcomes and probabilities of success or failure. Challenges arise with current conditions. We are in an era of low interest rates. Bond yields are historically depressed. This impacts expected fixed income returns. Stock valuations are also quite high by many historical measures, like PE ratios. These factors suggest lower future returns compared to historical averages used by Bengen. This environment impacts safe withdrawal rates. Monte Carlo simulations often show this. They frequently suggest rates lower than 4% when using current market valuations and subdued return expectations for assets, especially given persistently low bond yields. The outlook for a simple 4% rule is therefore more cautious today. Section 6. The hidden costs and flexible solutions, fees, and variable withdrawals. Investment fees are an important factor. Bengen's original work assumed no fees. His calculations used gross returns. However, real-world investing incurs costs. Fees directly reduce net returns. The money available to the retiree. Even a 1% annual fee matters. It compounds over a long retirement. Fees erode capital over time. Small percentages add up significantly over decades of retirement withdrawals. This can reduce sustainable withdrawal amounts. A 4% rule might become 3.5% or 3% after accounting for all fees. These include fund management fees and potentially advisor fees as well. Variable spending strategies offer an alternative. Instead of fixed inflation-adjusted withdrawals, retirees can adjust their spending. This can be based on portfolio performance or other preset rules or guidelines. Examples include guardrail strategies or spending a fixed percentage of the current portfolio. This naturally adjusts to market movements. Flexibility provides significant benefits. It allows retirees to adapt to changing market conditions and their own portfolio's health. This can improve portfolio longevity. It reduces the impact of sequence risk. If markets fall, spending adjusts down. If markets rise, spending can increase modestly. This adaptability is a powerful tool. Section 7. Navigating the maze. The indispensable role of financial advice and final thoughts. Professional financial advice has value. Vanguard, Morningstar, and PWL Capital call it Advisors Alpha. It includes behavioral coaching and strategic asset allocation. Regular portfolio rebalancing and tax efficiency are key. Flexibility and ongoing monitoring are vital. Personalized planning leads to better outcomes.